Chris, aka Zomproof here, bringing you a list of some of the best zombie games. I'll be covering games across genres, helping you find a game that fits your playstyle. So without further ado, let's get into the list.
What the heck is that chopper doing?
It's leaving us. Also, say hell.
Hey now, no need for cussing.
The first game on our list is the cooperative classic Left 4 Dead 2. Released on PC and Xbox 360 back in 2009, the game still has an active community and has even received updates as recently as September 2020. In the game, you play as one of 4 survivors as they travel from Georgia to New Orleans, fighting off hordes of zombies as well as the now familiar special infected, like the Boomer, the Tank, or the terrifying Witch. Her music cue still gives me nightmares.
We got a witch.
Oh, baby, I can destroy.
Best played with 3 friends, the characters provide backstory and witticisms as you traverse huge maps, including a carnival and hospital, with DLC adding 2 more maps and a connection to the first game. Your main enemy is the Director 2.0, the AI brain that determines when you're doing too good and need a jockey to mess up your day. Thanks to the Director, each playthrough feels different. You never know when the horde will attack or when you'll find an upgraded weapon. Developer Turtle Rock Studios released a spiritual successor, Back 4 Blood, in 2021 to, well, less than stellar reviews. It's received a few updates post-release, but it still doesn't capture the spark of its predecessor. Sometimes you need to walk a mile in your enemy's shoes, and no one does this quite like this OG Xbox game, re-released for modern consoles and PCs in March 2021. Stubs the Zombie sees you roaming a retro-futuristic town as the eponymous zombie as you pursue those responsible for putting you into an early grave. You are able to turn townspeople into your own zombie army, possess enemies with your detachable arm, use your internal organs as external explosives, and fart to stun your enemies. Ew. Made by one of the founders of Bungie, Stubs the Zombie is one of the rare games to use a Halo engine outside of the series. The game has a similar recharging health system with the minor addition of being able to eat a brain for a quick boost, and even has a vehicle whose handling feels similar to a certain porcine-themed vehicle made famous by the Halo series. While the visuals are showing their age, with its quirky humor, retro soundtrack, and strong mechanics, Stubs the Zombie will make you at least consider switching to the other side.
So, if you find yourself itching to step out of the bayou and help out an old man, well, you can find me in the cemetery where I'm holed up.
Since 2010, The Walking Dead is one of the hottest properties on the planet. Even though the graphic novel and original TV series has wrapped up, for the most part, there are still 2 more shows and multiple movies in the works. In the gaming realm, Robert Kirkman's series has been more miss than hit. A key exception to that is the VR game Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. In it, you explore New Orleans post-natural disaster and in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. From your base in the middle of a graveyard, how cheery, you'll craft weapons, food, and other gear as you explore, play factions off one another, and search for the reserve, a fabled trove of supplies. It doesn't take long for you to find yourself inching along, hoping not to alert walkers as you fiddle with your screwdriver, waiting for the chance to drive it into one of their skulls. Major free updates have added more features, including a horde mode that I'm honestly a little too afraid to try, and some new areas to explore. And recently a sequel was announced to continue the story of the tourists. Few games allow you to experience the terror of zombies coming after you quite like this one, though it's not always great at registering a blade kill. The most common reaction to an incoming zombie horde for most of us is to run away, and few games let you run as dramatically as Dying Light. From the developers of Dead Island, Dying Light begins with you literally getting dropped into Haran, a city under siege. Parkour skills are your primary means of survival, allowing you to climb and jump your way around the city. As you level up, you'll even be able to step zombie head to zombie head to the safety of the ultraviolet lights. While the occasional firearm can be found, most of your arsenal comes from your crafted melee weapons, a staple of the genre. Shock, burn, freeze, and explode your way through the city as you look for a cure for the undead plague. The massive map takes quite a while to explore, and the DLC expands it further, giving you access to vehicles to move you faster around. No zombie game lets you feel quite as mobile, though make sure you don't get caught outside after dark. A sequel is coming out very soon, possibly by the time you see this. Taking place in a new city with more parkour moves, the game looks to explore your interaction between different factions while avoiding a very deadly night scene. Honestly, I can't wait to get my hands on it.
No, don't shoot! Get down!
A remake of the classic 1998 survival horror game, Resident Evil 2 is a remake done right. Tank controls are replaced by an over-the-shoulder camera, the graphics have received a massive overhaul, but the excellent core story remains. Finally, you can spin the camera around famous Resident Evil locations and see them in a new light, like the gas station, and the police station, and the police station, and the police station. Damn, that place is huge. The third-person camera also means easier aiming for those headshots, though it seems to be rare that it only takes one. Typewriters are still the primary save point, though a more modern autosave system helps out unless you're on hardcore difficulty. Other improvements include a much more vicious Mr. X. Now he wears a hat. A fedora more specifically. Oh, and he'll follow you room to room, knocking zombies aside as he goes. Excuse me as I continue fleeing in terror. Capcom continues their trend of taking Resident Evil in exciting and fun new places, but they still know how to treat the classics. FYI, Capcom, if you're listening, a remake of Code Veronica would be very much appreciated. Thank you. And finally, we come to easily my favorite zombie game. None of the other games really gives you a full zombie apocalypse feeling. State of Decay 2 from Undead Labs is one of the first games to truly make you feel like you're part of a community trying to survive. Between killing zombies and interacting with other communities, you'll be able to expand your base or even move it to a new location while managing resources and happiness of other survivors. The maps are large and full of zombies and a handful of the living. Some hostile and some, well, just not friendly. The sequel adds the ability for friends to join your community, as well as a new threat as the blood plague infects not only zombies, but others in the world as well. Hunting plague hearts gives you more to do in the open map than the previous game, and having to manage infection levels may force you to consider leaving your favorite characters back at the base to give them a chance to heal up. Base building aspects are mostly unchanged from the first game, aside from getting a special building added depending upon whomever you choose as the community leader. The special variant zombies aren't too different from what you find in other zombie games. Though beware if you run into a juggernaut. They'll stop vehicles dead in their tracks and require a lot of teamwork to take down. A third game of the series was announced by Microsoft at their game showcase in July 2020. But the only things implied by the trailer are zombie animals, and it'll be on Game Pass. Aside from that, we haven't learned much more. Hopefully we'll get some updates later this year. And that's the list. What do you think? Agree or disagree? Did I leave something out? Let me know in the comments below, and maybe we'll revisit the list down the road. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons along the way. Once again, I've been Chris, aka Zomproof. Thanks for stopping by.